What was trench warfare in World War I really like? This is The Desert Fox, Erwin Rommel's first-hand glimpse into the chaos, danger, and nerve-shredding intensity that defined life in the Argonne trenches in 1915.
For 10 days during the middle of May 1915, the 9th Company was attached to the 67th Infantry, which was located in the middle of the Argonne, near Bagatelle, to the west of the 123rd Grenadiers. This aggressive unit was badly depleted as a result of its many fights in the campaign. A different sort of trench warfare prevailed here. Less value was put on positions offering shelter from artillery and mortar fire. The whole battle was conducted at grenade distance from shallow depressions and from behind low sandbag walls. At Bagatelle there were few indications that the Argonne was a dense forest, for the French artillery fire had cleared the trees thoroughly, and for miles all that remained visible were stumps. While the junior commanders were making their reconnaissance prior to taking over, a brief but violent hand grenade fight broke out on a wide front. And before it was over, we had suffered several casualties. This was a sample of what was in store, and we made the relief with mixed emotions. As was our custom, we deepened the trench at once and built dugouts for ourselves. Sudden and violent bursts of French artillery and mortar fire, accompanied by hand grenade fights all along the line, kept us from having dull moments. In the warm weather, the frightful stench of corpses wafted into the position. Many French dead still lay in front of and between our positions, but we could not bury them because of the strong enemy fire. The nights were really exciting. Hand grenade battles went on for hours along a broad front and became so confused that we never knew whether or not the enemy had broken through at some place or had worked his way behind our front line. Added to this, various enemy batteries chimed in from the flanks. This was repeated several times nightly, and we soon found it a strain on our nerves. The platoon CP that I had inherited from my predecessors lay to the left rear of my platoon sector. At the level of the bottom of the trench, about 6 feet below the ground, there was a narrow vertical shaft in the forward wall. This shaft was just wide enough to permit one man to lower himself through it. Another 6 feet, that is 12 feet under the surface, it opened on a horizontal tunnel the size of a large coffin. The floor was made up of cork slabs, and small niches had been cut into the wall to provide storage for rations and sundry other belongings. The walls and roof were devoid of bracing, and while the clayey soil was holding, I knew that anyone caught there by a shell exploding near the entrance was certain to be buried alive. As soon as shells struck in the vicinity, I got out of my hole and joined my platoon. Anyway, it was better to stay up forward, for the nightly hand grenade fight kept us on our feet half the night. The heat was unbearable during those days. One day, Ensign Morik, an especially fine soldier, visited me. I was down in my dugout, and we had to talk to each other through the shaft because there was not room for two in my warren. I told Morik I was convinced that we were not safe from the damned flies even when we were 12 feet underground. Morik said it was no wonder, since the edge of the trench was simply black with them. He got a pick and started to dig there. And at the first swing, the half-decayed blackened arm of a Frenchman came to light. We threw chloride of lime and earth on it and left the dead man in peace. We managed to weather the 10 days, and on our return to our regimental sector, we were shoved back into the front line. We found that every effort had been made to render trench warfare more unpleasant, for they had added mining to an increased volume of artillery and trench mortar fire. The opposing outposts were only a few yards apart in half-covered sapped trenches, heavily reinforced with wire. And the night was full of lively hand grenade battles which from time to time brought the entire garrison to its feet. Each side tried to destroy the other's advanced tunnels and positions, and hardly a day passed without an explosion. One day the French succeeded in cutting one of our sapped trenches, which had 10 men of our company working in it. We got them out, but it took several hours of hard fighting and digging, for several were completely buried. Our attempts to capture the nearby French sentry posts usually ended in considerable losses. These posts and the sections of trench leading to them were completely enclosed with barbed wire. At the slightest noise, the French in the blockhouses would sweep the obstacles with machine gun fire. These conditions soon became exasperating, and we hoped to remedy them by storming Central.
Rommel's first-hand account showcases the grit and ingenuity that would later define his military career. From the chaos of hand grenade battles to leading daring offensives, these moments laid the groundwork for his evolution into the legendary Desert Fox. For more secret stories of cunning, endurance, and iron resolve, hit the like and subscribe to ride along as we explore the secrets lurking in the shadows and echoing through the corridors of the past. Welcome to the Shadows and the Past, where history meets mystery and the past is your present.